What's up? In this video, this is a training for our clients, but in general, we are going to go deep on how to stay motivated. Now, this is for you if you struggle with having a burning desire. If you're like, sometimes you feel like you're going through the motions, you're getting burnt out, you don't really know you're doing it anymore. Maybe you're kind of spiritually leaning like myself, and you get into these periods of like, do I even really want the money? Is the money really like what I should be going for? Maybe I should be like trying to like and become enlightened and like go into some monastery somewhere and just go meditate for the next 40 years. Do I even really want this? And this is for you if you've ever had any of those thoughts, or if you got to the point where you made the money and you're like, okay, nothing really changed. I got a cooler watch, I got a cooler house, I got a cooler car, I'm wearing better clothes, but like I don't really feel different. And that's demoralizing me. It's demotivating me. So this is for you if you're in that category too. And so I'm gonna crack into a whiteboard drawing here. Okay. Um, let's do shape. Boom, got a big square. Okay, so this square could also be a circle. This big square represents life itself. This little square inside the big square represents your current reality. Everything else that's possible in the world, every experience that you could have in the world is represented by this big square. And if your life, this is you inside this little square looking out going, oh man, like there's not really that much that's really motivating me. I don't really care about material things. I'm not that material. Well, what about all the experiences that you could be having, that you could be giving to your loved ones? Like, are you really going to sit there and tell me that you don't have a burning reason to go out there and just experience as much as you can? Put another way, like, if this where you are right now represents, let's call it 0.000, I don't know, 2% of all of reality, right? The places that you've seen, the things you've done, the experiences you've had, your day-to-day lived experience on average. It's like, this is all that you've done, all that you've experienced. And the reason why you haven't experienced more is because you're fucking poor. There's no other way to put it. You're too poor. You got no money because you have not continued to change who you are. You have not continued to what we call self. It's going to be hard writing this, but self-actualize. Actualize. In other words, you haven't learned more skills, push yourself harder, develop new characteristics, new character traits. You haven't expanded your network. You haven't worked hard enough. There's all these things. You haven't changed your identity. You're still this tiny version. And what I'm trying to tell you is that life is about doing this. It's like, okay, I'm expanding the boundaries like an explorer. I'm pushing the gaps to see what else is out there. And it's continually pushing the gaps until you know, until you're increasing this number. So you might get all the way to the end, right? This number here of what you're currently experiencing/experienced in your life, if you put it another way, there is 99.9998% of life that you have missed, that you've not experienced. And if you were to die today, you're there in the afterlife, would you be like, I'm totally okay not having experienced this number? That's totally fine. Probably not. I know I wouldn't be. And if you're truly not, then there's, I don't know, like, I think you're either lying to yourself or like maybe you have some chemicals that are not balanced. But this is the thing. It's like we can't be looking at in our tiny bubble going like, well, I don't really care about money because like, well, I don't really want material stuff. Okay, how about retiring your parents? How about giving to charity? How about going and saving the rainforest or saving the whales or getting all the plastic out of the ocean or contributing in some way? How about thinking bigger than yourself? You know, most of the time we lack motivation because everything's me, me, me. My needs, my wants, right? Like, what about the finer things in life? Why shouldn't you have a supercar? Luke has one. Why shouldn't you be living in a baller ass mansion with, you know, enough money to go, you know what? Let's go to Japan this weekend. It's 20 grand, first class. Fuck it. Let's go. Why shouldn't you? That's the bigger thing. If somebody else can do it, why not you? The fact that you're not doing that should piss you the fuck off. I know it pisses me off. I sat down and I was like, man, like, what are all the things I want to do? I got a big list. I could probably show it to you. I want to go skydiving in Dubai over the Palm. I want to go snorkeling in the freaking Great Barrier Reef. I want to go to Cape Town in South Africa and I want to surf. I want to go to Machu Picchu. I want to go to Bali and go explore the temples and shit. I want to go and live in the tropics year round. I want to get a sweet, sick tan, dude. I want to have a supercar that I, rip around. I want to drive through the mountains in a freaking some type of supercar. I don't know. I want to go fly first class. I want to fly in a private jet. I think that would be a cool experience. I want to be able to like give money to people that I care about without even ever worrying about it. Like, oh, my mom's stressed about bills. Hey, don't worry about it. Here's 10 grand to like, cover your bills for the next year. Like, no big deal. No sweat. I got you. Right. And so before we go into all the skills and it's like, okay, dude, like there's a formula to making money. There's you, okay? You plus skills plus a plan, okay? You plus the right skills plus the right plan, plus, taking action. This is not an exact formula, but all of this to the power of time equals we can call it your goal or your desired reality. So your current reality is, the sum total of all these things as well. And so before we talk about the hybrid method and the skills, running ads and the plan and what actions to take and how to sell and all that stuff to get to your goal, we got to look at you. You're the X factor here. It's not, self-actualizing is about starting with you. If you don't have a big enough goal, none of this shit that we're teaching you is going to matter. You're not going to do it. If you don't have a burning desire, and your burning desire should be like freaking Magellan, Christopher Columbus, to explore the frontiers of mankind, or like to live life to its fullest. The biggest fear that you should have is not failing, but it's dying with this number being at this high. It should be like, dude, I lived my highest potential. The version that, I was supposed to be, I became that person 100%. That is like the goal of life. And your biggest fear should not be like, oh, what if my ads don't work? But it's like, what if I don't become that person? That should keep you awake at night. All right. And so we need to make you better. We need to make sure that you have a burning desire that never, ever, ever dies down. It's not at the mercy of external events, or it's not tied to stupid shit. It's something that's replenishing. A lot of these things, if you're talking the difference between needs and wants, right? needs are things that we usually work harder for because it's tied to our survival. And then wants is like, well, I want like a Rolex, but like I'm not going to work hard for it. Well, if you separate the things of the categories of life from like needs, like and like let's call it like aspirational, things. We can call it aspirational wants, like to fly on a private jet, 60 grand for 2 or 3 hours, have a Lambo, have a have a Patek, 80 grand watch, like whatever, like live in a baller ass penthouse condo in Miami, whatever, buy a Rolls Royce, whatever. If we actually said, you know what, those are not my wants anymore. Those are now needs because, I mean, fuck it, dude. Other people have them. They're not uncommon. Millions of people have those things. Why not me? I need that shit. I need it not because I need the thing, but I need to experience. I just want to. I want that experience so bad that it excites me to go in after it. I want to prove to myself I could do it. I want to do it for whatever reasons. Okay, and so there's steps here. Number one is having a burning desire. If we're going to talk about you now, a burning desire, you need control over your emotions. We can call it state management. Okay. You need the skills, which is up here. Like these are the things that go into like you also need to be able to follow a plan, schedule your time. You need the right beliefs, right? We can probably put beliefs under here, values. You want to align everything towards your goals. Just one other part to motivation is if you look at yourself in 3 versions, okay? This is how I look at motivation. You have our higher self, you can call it God. We have our day-to-day self. We can call this one practical. And then we have our lower self, which is, we can call it the ego or the animalistic part of us, okay? So we have like an angelic part, just your normal day-to-day self, and then your lower self, that's the dark part, right? And the way that people work, okay, is that they'll typically operate like this. Here's this shiny thing. Let's just say this is their goal. Okay. So they have 3 forces here. One of them will be going, I want that. But then the other 2 or 1 are pointed the other way. Okay. So for example, you might have the belief that your higher self wants you to be poor. You had in church, they said, no rich man can get to heaven. So therefore, God wants me to be poor. And so your day-to-day self is like, I want the money. I want to take care of the people I love. I want to grow this business. I want to help. I got bills to pay. I got to like take care of my kids, whatever. Your day-to-day self is going, yeah, I want that. But your higher self, or at least the way that you framed your belief that your higher self wants, maybe you never even thought of it, or it's subconsciously saying like, oh, God doesn't want me to be rich. So it's pointed the other way. It's going to demotivate you. And then you're like, well, why am I getting demotivated, dude? It's like, well, if you have 100% motivation is 33%. If this is the case, you actually only have 33% motivation going towards your goal, and then 66% is going the other way. Let's say that your lower self, your ego, wants to be lazy or whatever, or like you tell your story, like you have like a weird part of you that's like, I'm a bad person, therefore I don't deserve to be money. So we can also call this a shadow. Okay. Like something from your childhood, your programming. There's a part of you that's like, I'm not a good person. Like, money means that blah, blah, blah. You have weird shit going on. And therefore, most of motivation is, why does it keep zooming in on me? Most of motivation is simply connect, like, it's not even like uncovering this stuff. That might help, but it's like, we got to get them all going the same direction. You take a belief. Okay. I had a belief where I'm like, I actually really don't care about people, right? Like, I'm like, I care, but at the same time, I don't care. And it was costing me money, which is why I wanted to change it. I'm like, okay, so my higher self, I believe the God version of myself wants to help people. It loves people. I want to do good. I want to serve people. Great. Let's get that one lined up this way. So I should be helping. I should be caring about people just because it's what the highest version of myself would do. Be more selfless than selfish. Great. My day-to-day self. Well, I know in sales, if I care about people, if I care about them more than I care about myself in a sales context, I'm going to have a better chance of closing them and therefore making more money. Awesome. Cool. Those ones are lined up. What about my lower self? What about the part of me that was like, when I was a kid, people were mean to me. And I was like, well, if they don't like me, well, then fuck them. I'm going to be better than them. You know what? Or the part of me that's like, no, me, like the selfish, like the ego, the animal in me, like the part that's just like, I just want mine. I don't care about you. Like, no, fuck you. Well, it's just like, well, dude, hey, if you want to get the money and prove to everyone else that you are the man and you want to like get the things and like whatever is going on there, you want to show those people that they were wrong, or you want to like, you know, whatever. It's like, well, all that's going to happen is if you also care about people on a sales context. So you see how this works. The difference is you go from your motivation, which is like, if this thing zooms one more time, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. If your motivation is like a flickering candle, you know, doing this is how you create a candle that never flickers. All right. So you should never, ever, 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 ever have an issue with motivation after you watch this video ever again. Okay. So that's all I got. Let me know if this helped, you know, drop in the comments. If you have any questions, fire away. All right. Peace.